Welcome back to my channel, guys. This week I want to start by doing some work to the heads, look at fitting a few of the rocker arms, start to shim the heads up. Also, I want to get into the fork legs, separate the chrome lowers where the seals run from the low aluminium parts, send that all out to be repaired and refurbished. Might even have a bit of a look at the dashboard as well. So rip the cover off the bike, see if we can maybe fit those gauges. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Let's do it. It might be a bit noisy today as well because of the rain and it's a bit stormy outside, so hope that doesn't drive you too crazy. Because these pins were so tight to get out, I had my friend Bernie make up some tools so I can mock up the shims on either side of the rocker arms without having to beat these ones in and out to check it all. So what we're doing here is making sure that the rocker arm sits central to the valve. So by changing the shims here, you can slide the rocker arm one way or the other. We need to make sure that's sitting perfectly in the middle. With all the shims fitted on either side of the rocker arm, you can see that the rocker arm fits perfectly in the center of the guide. Now the fun part, trying to put it in with the original pins and the spring. This is the hard part of the job, trying to get this guy in with the spring. So all these edges are very sharp. That's why I put the rag up here. So without it, I could feel the sharp part of the head trying to cut into my hand, and after cutting the tendon off my thumb, that's what I don't want to do again. I just tapped the shaft through enough where I could put the spacer in there or the shim on there. I can just start the rocker arm off, and now I have a gap on this left side, which I'll put the two remaining spacers into. So I've tapped the rocker shaft right in to the point where it wants to come past the end of the rocker arm. Now I'll fit the smallest shim in and get it up onto the shaft, and then try and fit the other spacer in as well. So the really thin shim has been slid in. You can just see how small it is. Now I need to fit the fatter guy in. Now I'll draw the rocker shaft back so this spacer can be pushed in without the small one falling off. So that's the first closing rocker arm refitted. I purposely left the valve stem seal off just in case I damaged it while I was playing around trying to fit that shaft. Okay, that's intake done. Let's do the exhaust. Once again, just triple checking, and it's sitting perfectly. Right, let's try and fit the real shaft. And here comes the rain again. On go the shims. Also should mention, when you fit these rocker shafts, make sure the holes with the threads in them are on the outside. Otherwise you can never remove the rocker shaft. I fitted the valve stem seals on the rear cylinder, and I just rotated them to make sure that they had fully taken to the top of the guide and aren't going to pop straight off. Make sure you fit the right cam shafts to the correct head. The fins that run flat like this shows that it's the vertical head. The vertical cam has a V. The front head has an O for horizontal or horizontal. There's a shim here also that I've cable tied on, so make sure you fit that guy on as well. Now I'll just fit the end cap on without the gasket I do have to pull it off again to put these shafts in, but for now I just want it to hold the camshaft correctly. That's the original closing shim. And I'll just get some new collets. Okay, that's what they look like. That's the collets fitted. These two guys in here. Now we'll check the closing clearance. Basically, I'll just show you how to set them up by feel for starters. So I can rotate the camshaft. There's no drag at all. When I set it up on the correct part of the cam and I push it down, there's very minimal movement, nearly nothing, and I can just rotate the shim. I will check them, but by feel, that's perfect. Time for the intake valve. The rear intake valve. The cam turns over perfectly. When I bring it up onto the correct part of the lobe, it has nearly nothing as far as clearance goes, but I can still rotate the shim. This might be slightly tight, as I can feel the most minute drag as it passes the cam lobe. So I'm actually going to change this shim for one size smaller. We need a shim that's smaller than that measurement and not by a lot. I reckon that's what we need. Let's put it in. There's zero drag. Feels perfect. I can rotate the shim. It's perfect. Next, what I'll do is to fit the opening rocker shafts make sure that the spacing is correct for the rocker arms, and then we'll fit the correct shaft through it, then we'll check the shims. With the mock-up shaft in there, with it hard up against the head, I can see that's perfect. This one's a lot easier to fit than the closing rocker arms. So I'm fitting this now without the shim. Now we can put the shim on, making sure it's clean. Okay, that's just barely sitting there. I'll 180 the head and fit the other rocker arm and rocker shaft. Now we'll fit the rocker arm up central once again. This side's pretty straightforward as well. It needs all the shims on one side. All the shims on this rocker shaft need to stay on the right hand side. Now we'll fit the correct rocker shaft. All the shims. Opening shim. Now we'll fit the cam cap for the last time and check these opening shims. Making sure that shim is on the camshaft. What I want to do today is to basically remove the damper assembly from inside the fork leg and then separate the chrome part, because I need to send that off to be repaired. It's got pits in it. from the lower aluminium part, which also has some marks on it that I need to have repaired. So let's pull that apart now. By removing this bolt, it allowed the damper tube to come out pretty easily. So that's all been removed now. Next I'll try and remove this grub screw. If I can get that out, I'll go see my machinist friend and we'll hold this in his lathe and we'll try and undo the lower part. Apparently it is threaded on there. I've never pulled one apart, so we'll soon see. And this one, not so easy. It just broke the tool off when I tried to undo it, which is a real bugger. Bernie was able to drill out the broken torque bit and heated it up like we did the other leg, separated the two halves, so now we can send this off to be repaired like I wanted to do before, and we can get these Vapour blasted. The other one's got a few marks in it, so we'll be able to do that as well. I've just been to the workshop and grabbed the filler gauges. Let's check the opening clearance on the exhaust valve side. Doesn't have 0.1. Got 0.05. We need a smaller shim. Just zeroed out the tool. Put your shim on this tool here. We got 370. We need 365. Let's give this one a go. That's 0.1 of a mil. Perfect. Point 0.15 doesn't fit. Now we'll check the intake valve side. 0.05 goes in. 0.1, perfect. And 0.15 won't go. So I'm happy with the clearances. That's good. Ended up finding one of these as well. You know how the brass parts always tear out? Let's put that on too. That head's done.